mute yourselves, we can start immediately. We can start, Freddie.
And they who for their country die, repeat that, and they who for their country die shall find an honored grave, for glory lights the soldier's tomb, and beauty weeps the brave. Friends, we have come together to connect courage and memory and pay tribute to a brave heart of India and Stewart School, Qatar. As is traditional, we will begin with the word of God. And for that, we have chosen Psalm 23. And I have chosen the King James Version. Charles Spurgeon once said that this psalm, Psalm 23, has charmed more griefs to rest than all the philosophy of the world. What a lovely thing. This psalm has charmed more griefs to rest than all the philosophy of the world. Psalm 23, King James Version. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen. Now, we will beseech the Lord to bestow his blessings on us and the event. The school choir will sing, Lord, behold us with thy blessing.
Strength.
with the blessings of the Lord and that wonderful hymn, beseeching his mercy and his kindness, we move on to our next segment. Friends, the purpose-driven life is often a spiral of reality. The late Mrs. and Mr. Somalingam were two of the most committed teachers of Stewart School. Their son, ex-Stewartonian Sam Somalingam, after his studies, he ventured into several jobs, in the course of which he heard that still small voice within him. Yes, that still small voice within him. And after that, he chose to bring love, peace, and fortitude into the lives of people. And so he became the eloquent, inspiring, and comforting Reverend Samuel Somalingam, ex-Stewartonian. He will now offer the opening prayer.
Good evening, and I welcome you to this memorial service for late Captain Eric Tucker. Let us open this service with a word of prayer. Let us look to the Lord in prayer. Father God, we come before you and we remember the life, the legacy of Captain Eric Tucker. The fact that he studied in this institution, Stewart School, and not only was he educated here, but he was imparted values which were to impact him. He was also instrumental in receiving a sense of patriotism from this school, which led him to work in the armed forces. And we remember his life and his sacrifice for the country. And we know that this school had a very important part to play in shaping and molding his character, his perspectives of life, and his values. We thank you for the school, which has been a beacon of light and has provided not only education, but a holistic value to all those students who have studied here over the past generations. Father, we thank you for the school. We pray for the principal, the staff, the managing committee, that you will be with them, that you will guide them, that you will help them to lead the school on the right path. We also pray for all the students who are right now studying in the school, that you will be with each one of them, and each one of them will walk out of the school and will chart out his or her own destiny. A destiny in which Stewart School will be instrumental in shaping and molding. We also pray for this program which has been arranged today, that you will be with each one of us, each participant who takes part in the program, and that your blessings may be upon this program today. Thanking you once again for everything and committing this time into your hands. We give you all glory, honor, majesty, and praise. And we ask this prayer in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Somalingam. Groomed early in the chalk-dusted classrooms of Stewart School, Mr. Farley North went on to do his graduation in English and his post-graduation in English from Ravenshaw College, Qatar. He chose after that to go back to his own school and become a teacher. And what a popular teacher he became. Coming back to your own roots is a rare privilege. It's a blessing of God. As time went by, his geniality of spirit, his personal charisma, and his administrative acumen have made him a worthy successor of Stewart School's illustrious line of principals. Friends, Stewartonians, ladies and gentlemen, the principal of Stewart School will now welcome and address all of you.
Thank you so very much, sir. Someone has rightly remarked, courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the judgment that something else is more important than fear. These words resonate in our hearts and minds as we gather to share memories and pay rich tributes to the pride of our institution, late Captain Eric James Tucker. It is indeed a privilege and a matter of immense pride for me to be present in the midst of a galaxy of eminent dignitaries and honorable guests, especially on an occasion when we all have assembled to remember and pay rich tributes to the long departed soul, the pride of our institution, our state, and our nation, the noble Captain Eric James Tucker, who selflessly laid down his life for our beloved motherland. Captain Eric James Tucker, born on the 21st October 1927, was commissioned in the Maratha Light Infantry on 13th July 1947 and was in command of the B Company, 2nd Battalion of the Maratha Light Infantry. He played a vital role in the fight against the rebels during the Naga insurgency in the Naga Hills. While proceeding with the platoon on an operation on the 2nd of October 1957, he was trapped in the thick undergrowth of the jungle by militants who had collected advance information about his movement. In the ensuing exchange of fierce firing, he was struck on the chest and face, following which he collapsed and breathed his last. It is crystal clear from the available records that Captain Eric James Tucker, while taking on the rebels in the insurgent infested Naga Hills, displayed the highest sense of devotion to his duties and responsibilities, caring very little for his personal safety. His able and perceptive leadership, along with exemplary courage and valor, infused great confidence in the soldiers under his command. As we move on, I believe there is a treasure trove of interesting information, anecdotes, and incidents that will be expressed by our honored chief guest, guest of honor, and other highly esteemed guests who have assembled on this platform to pay rich tributes to Captain Eric James Tucker as he lives on in our hearts, the pride of our nation and hallowed institution. Giving immense thanks to God for this occasion of reverence and blessing, I would like to, on behalf of the management of Stewart School, Cuttack, extend a warm welcome to all our eminent guests gathered here on this virtual platform to honor our long departed and noble soul. I would like to warmly welcome our chief guest, Mr. Rajat Mathur, Major General, Indian Army, for granting us the pleasure of his august presence at this special commemoration ceremony. Major General Rajat Kumar Mathur was a student of the distinguished 1981 batch of our beloved school. He studied right from the preparatory class in 1970 and passed out in the year 1981. Rajat is remembered as an all-rounder, excelling in academics, various extracurricular activities, and games like cricket and hockey. He later studied at Ravinshaw College, Cuttack, and was subsequently selected for training at the famous National Defence Academy at Pune and the Indian Military Academy, Dehradun. He was commissioned in the Regiment of Artillery on the 14th of June, 1986. During his military service of more than 35 years, General Rajat has had a distinguished career serving in different parts of our country in various challenging operational and instructional assignments, including counter-insurgency operations in the Kashmir Valley, as well as in the Northeast. Living up to his reputation, he has excelled in various army training courses and holds degrees in MSc, Defense and Strategic Studies from the Madras University and MPhil in Defense and Management from the Devi Ahilyabai University. He has attained instructional gradings on various military courses and has been posted as a serious instructor at the prestigious Defense Services Staff College at Wellington, Tamil Nadu. He has commanded an artillery regiment, an artillery brigade, an infantry brigade, and a mountain division before his present assignment as the Additional Director General of NCC Directorate, Delhi. He has had the proud privilege of being selected to represent the country at the United Nations Angola Verification Mission and has been a part of the Indian Military Advisory Team in Zambia. He has also served as the Principal Defense Specialist in the Apex National Security Council Secretariat. Major General Mathur has been conferred with the Vishisht Seva Medal and Army Commander Commendation Cards on 2 occasions for his distinguished and exemplary service. Having been a keen NCC cadet himself during his school days, he is currently closely involved as head of the NCC setup in Delhi State, promoting youth empowerment and training his cadets to contribute positively towards national unity and nation-building activities. This then, dear friends, is Major General Rajat Mathur for you. At this point, I regret to inform you that our guest of honor, Colonel Arun Thakur, is unable to be with us this evening due to certain unavoidable circumstances that have sprung up at the last moment, for which he has sent in his apologies. We will miss his absence at this important event. It gives me immense pleasure to warmly welcome our second guest of honor, Mr. Yashwant Tucker, son of the late Captain Eric Late Tucker, James Tucker, into our midst. Mr. Yashwant Christopher Tucker, the only son of late Captain Eric James Tucker, is happily married to Mrs. Shanta Tucker and has 2 children, Veera Rachel and Eric John. Mr. Tucker has successfully served as a part of the cabin crew for Air India for 37 long years and retired as the cabin crew in charge. He is presently residing in Mumbai. Once again, I regret to inform all present that due to unforeseen circumstances, Colonel Rajnish Kapoor, Group Commander, NCC Group Headquarters, Cuttack, will not be in our midst on this virtual platform. However, I would like to express my thanks to Lieutenant Colonel Shailesh Sharma, Officer Commanding 1 Odisha Medical Company, NCC Cuttack, for graciously stepping in to take his place at this commemoration ceremony. I welcome him with all warmth and gratitude to this solemn ceremony. I take this privilege to cordially welcome our chairman, Bishop Right Reverend Surendra Kumar Nanda, to this ceremony. And at the same time, I also extend a warm welcome to all the office bearers and the leaders of the Diocese of Cuttack Church of North India, both past and present, to grace this occasion with their dignified presence. My heartfelt welcome goes out to all our highly esteemed guests. Many of them are very own Stewartonians who have spared their precious time to be with us and express their strong feelings of pride in connection with Captain Tucker, who continues to reside in our hearts and minds. I greet and welcome each one of them to this, our moment of pride and honor for our glorious institution. I, at this point of time, would like to acknowledge the presence of Mrs. Gillian Hart, the principal of Welland Goldsmith School, Kolkata, Mr. Suchit Das, former DG of Odisha Police, Dr. Jayant Rath, Colonel PTR Jagannath, officer at the Army Ordnance Corps Center, Secunderabad, Mrs. Padma Chauhan, wife of squadron leader Dalip Chauhan, good friend and neighbor to Mrs. Sybil Tucker, the mother of late Captain Eric James Tucker, for long years in Cuttack. Apart from these special guests, I take immense pleasure in welcoming a host of other eminent Stewartonians who have most graciously taken out precious time to be with us on this occasion. I also take immense pleasure in welcoming all the leaders and pastors of all diocesan churches in Cuttack, the secretaries, heads, and coordinators of all diocesan institutions in Cuttack, the teaching and office staff, and also the senior students of Stewart School, Cuttack, to this virtual commemoration ceremony. With these words of introduction and welcome, I hand over the proceedings of this ceremony into the secure hands of our ever effervescent and lively Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Frederick Wright, a Stewartonian of immense eminence and repute. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Mr. North. Thank you. I was absolutely delighted to hear that Major General Rajat Mathur was at Wellington. What a beautiful place. It's a hill station, Army Staff Training College, not far away from Ooty, just a drive away. And I'd like to tell you, Rajat, that we drove down to Ooty for the horse races. And when we were coming out, I met Field Marshal Manekshaw, and he was getting into his car. And I went up to take his autograph and shake his hand. And I said, it's a great honor to meet a retired Field Marshal of India. You know what he said? He said, young man, you got it all wrong. Once a Field Marshal, always a Field Marshal. There's no retirement. And he lived his life like that. So army people like Rajat, the late Captain Tucker, these are people, they've got nerves of steel and they've got the willingness to put their country above everything else and go ahead. They're made of different clay. Now, since God has given us so much of love, let there be a hymn from the school choir. God is love, let heaven adore him. Wonderful hymn. Wonderful hymn. I really thank the organizers for putting in that black and white picture of former teachers and students. It really touched the chords of my heart. That's what we find most endearing about such ceremonies and such get-togethers. It is now my pleasure to invite, as a Stewartonian, a very bubbly, the all-rounder of all-rounders, someone with a never-say-die attitude, who reaches out to everyone, who's got a lot of warmth, and yet he is made of a lot of commitment. May I request Major General Rajat Mathur, the Indian Army, our chief guest, to address us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Frederick Wright. The principal, Mr. Fali North, esteemed teachers and staff members of our beloved school, Colonel Arun Thakur, the commanding officer of the 2nd Maratha Light Infantry Battalion, Lieutenant Colonel Shailesh Sharma, the officer commanding of One Orissa Medical Company of NCC Cuttack, the very unit from where I also did my NCC as a student in the school. Senior Stewartonians present here, my colleagues, Mr. Yashwant Tucker, other distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and the dear students of the senior classes of the school who I believe are listening on. Jai Hind and a very good evening to all of you. At the outset, I thank the principal and the school management for inviting me here as the chief guest for this very special function where we are paying homage today to late Captain Eric Tucker, Ashok Chakra. And also a big thank you to the principal for his kind words of the introduction that he gave about me. I am simply a humble student of Stewart School and will always remain like that. In fact, it was a great pleasure to see the school buildings in the videos that were part of the hymn. Very nostalgic indeed. Seeing those corridors actually set upon me a new sense of energy and a new energy coursing through the veins, actually wanting to rush out there and relive the moments of our childhood in those wonderful corridors of the school. Like brought out, I had been a student in the school from 1970 till 1981, but remained intimately connected with the school for a long time thereafter through my mother, Mrs. Umarani Mathur, who taught mathematics to many batches from 1975 onwards. Indeed, some of you would be knowing that for a very long time from 1984 onwards, we stayed within the school premises in the corner ground floor house near the hostel field, which old timers will remember as the house where Mr. Fairchild used to stay. In those days, as a child, I used to look upon that corner of the hostel field with a lot of awe and reverence, little realizing that I would spend some of my precious years staying in those very buildings. So therefore, I have enjoyed a very unique relationship with the school and watched the school grow from strength to strength over the years with a great sense of pride. And therefore, this is indeed a very special occasion for me. And once again, a big thank you to the principal and to the school management for inviting me for this event. I wish to begin by firstly acknowledging the great initiative and effort put in by Lieutenant Colonel Jagannath, also a distinguished student of our school and a fellow army man, who initiated this project to resurrect the memory of late Captain Eric Tucker, Ashok Chakra, and to make this an institutional event at the school, hopefully every year hereafter. Some of you would be knowing that Lieutenant Colonel Jagannath's late father and Captain Tucker were contemporaries in their school days. Indeed, both were excellent athletes, often competing with each other on the playfield, but very good friends otherwise. And recently, in an event at Lieutenant Colonel Jagannath's home, in a ceremony which was in memory of his late father, his father's younger brother, that is Jagannath's Chacha, brought up the memory of late Captain Tucker in that reunion and was mentioning how that somehow the school had missed out honoring such a great personality. Thereon, Lieutenant Colonel Jagannath, in true military style, picked this up as a mission for himself and has ensured that he pursued it to its logical end, roping me in, roping the school in, roping two Marathas in, and a host of other personalities in the military and outside the military to gather whatever memorabilia we could about late Captain Tucker. So hats off to you, Jagannath. Very proud about you and your achievements also.
Thank you, sir. All your guidance.
Now, throughout the very checkered and illustrious history of our school, we have produced numerous heroes and leaders who have excelled in all walks of life and have been respected icons and pillars of the society, especially in Cuttack and Orissa. All of these personalities have always upheld the values learnt in the school, which Sam was referring to in his part of the prayer. Indeed, all these personalities have carried forward the school's name and flag with immense pride. Late Captain Eric Tucker, Ashok Chakra, was, however, in an entirely different league, far above the rest, I feel, a real war hero who led from the front, absolutely fearless and selfless. Indeed, a worthy recipient of our nation's highest peacetime gallantry award. Ladies and gentlemen, the Ashok Chakra, for your information, is the equivalent of the Paramveer Chakra, which is the highest wartime gallantry award of our country. Both these awards are bestowed very rarely, only to those gallant heroes who display conspicuous courage and ultimate bravery in the face of the enemy, and when there is the maximum danger to their lives. And despite this danger, consistently demonstrate unparalleled levels of leadership in the most trying situations, rendering unflinching, selfless service to the nation, even at the cost of their lives in most cases. And this indeed was the case with our late Captain Eric Tucker, Ashok Chakra. And therefore, it is a great matter of distinction for our school that he had been a student of our school. Indeed, it is in my opinion, a unique distinction for our state of Orissa also. We have always been very proud in the school that Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, the leader of the Indian National Army, was a student of our school, and many of us have borne this fact with great pride. I think it is indeed befitting today that after this function, hereafter the school will always faithfully remember late Captain Tucker Ashok Chakra with similar great awe and reverence. I'll share a few aspects about his deeds and try and simplify it for ease of understanding for everyone. He was a very dashing young officer, recently married and given the responsibility of commanding Bravo Company of the 2nd Maratha Light Infantry, which was tasked to open a line of communication in the Naga Hills in Nagaland. You all would have heard about the Naga insurgency. That insurgency is the oldest insurgency movement of our country and also was the most violent insurgency at its peak in the 1950s. The Naga insurgent groups opposed the efforts of the Government of India to integrate Naga inhabited areas into a state as part of the Union of India and launched a violent struggle against the government. Naturally, the Indian Army was deployed to quell this violent insurgency and to establish the control of the government in those remote, extremely rugged mountains covered with thick, dense jungles. The Nagas, who are themselves essentially hill tribes, had the advantage of being fully familiar with the layout of the land, the geography of the place, and naturally controlled vast stretches of the area. To establish the writ of the government, the army at that time had to fight the Naga insurgents to gain control of important areas, inch by inch, foot by foot, literally. And one of the type of operations conducted is called opening lines of communication. Here the word communication refers to road communication or any surface communications, tracks, jungle routes, etc. between any two places. So opening lines of communications means fighting the insurgents to remove their presence and control from that area and to establish the army's control over that particular stretch of road and all the surrounding hills and areas. You can well visualize what a difficult task this is in mountainous area, in thickly forested area, consistently raining all the time, leeches, animals, wildlife of all types, and troops from other parts of the country, like those of the second Marathas from Maharashtra, led by able officers like our late Captain Eric Tucker, operating in those areas. Only by their diligent efforts of opening up these roads and the communication thereon could supplies, vehicles, and other civilians move safely on that road. A very, very difficult, risky, time consuming, and dangerous task. I can vouch for it. I have served in Nagaland for 2 years in 2000. Even at that time, it was very, very tough. I can only imagine what it would have been in the 50s. Captain Tucker, who was given this task of opening the lines of communication from Chakabama to Fake. Fake is the district headquarters of one of the districts in Nagaland, over a distance of approximately 42 miles, which translates to 67 kilometers. Kilometers is what we are used to more today. And thereafter, he was also tasked to further move to a place called Meluri, another 20 miles or 32 kilometers further away, and establish an army post there at Meluri, having destroyed all the hostile Naga insurgents en route over this distance of approximately 100 kilometers. To put it in perspective for all of you there in Cuttack, this is more than the distance from Cuttack to Puri. And you can just imagine this distance deep in the interiors of Orissa, across the eastern Ghats, where even today we do not have adequate roads. Imagine the condition in Nagaland at that time. So despite all those challenges and setbacks, including having to cross a river which was in flood in spate at that time, Captain Tucker achieved this monumental task in just 9 days. Thereafter, over the next 1 year, he conducted numerous operations against the Naga hostiles, pursuing them relentlessly, destroying many of their hideouts and camps, and re-establishing the writ of the government at many places. The Nagas, in fact, had begun to fear him and his brave, audacious attacks, and were constantly trying to waylay him and ambush him, which eventually they managed to do on the 2nd of August 1957. Even during that ambush, ladies and gentlemen, Captain Tucker fought back ferociously and heroically charged at the Nagas, attempting to break out from that ambush. Even when he had run out of ammunition, he continued assaulting the Nagas frontally, selflessly exposing himself to danger to protect the men under his command. Ultimately, he succumbed to his injuries after that heroic and gallant battle. Sitting here today, we can only imagine the monumental levels of courage, capability, and leadership skills that Captain Eric James Tucker, Ashok Chakra, was blessed with, and be inspired by him and his heroic deeds. These rare leadership traits and personality characteristics that he possessed were a result of his personal upbringing and grooming from his parents and family, and also attained due to the diligence of his teachers and the ecosystem of our school. I must emphasize on this. This is indeed a hallmark of our school, something for which our school has always stood head and shoulders above all other schools. Successive school managements, principals, teachers, individually and collectively, and a whole lot of senior students, boys and girls, have indeed put in tremendous efforts and sacrifices to build and nurture a culture and an ethos, an all-pervasive value system in the school, which along with the rigorous academic curriculum makes a Stewartonian very special and different from others. I have seen this so many times in my life, not only in Cuttack and Orissa, everywhere in the country. And I reiterate again with no hesitation that once a Stewartonian, always a Stewartonian. While we celebrate this event today, we need to pledge to rededicate ourselves for the good of our nation and its people, For this, I believe that we all need to develop the ability to first and foremost think about the common interest and to give this common interest a greater priority than our own personal interest and comfort. I therefore take this opportunity to urge all the children and others attending this program to reflect upon the sacrifices of Captain Tucker and the innumerable heroes like him who fought for our independence and subsequently to safeguard this hard-earned independence from our enemies in the last 75 years. This year, the nation is celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, that is 75 glorious years of our independence. We are also celebrating the golden jubilee of the 1971 war, in which we defeated Pakistan and gifted the world another vibrant country, our neighbor Bangladesh. As we remember our numerous freedom fighters and heroes, let us solemnly pledge to bring about a few changes in our personal attitudes, habits, and lives. Let us be disciplined and mature citizens who understand and follow rules all the time, even if it is at our personal discomfort. Let us do our bit and distinguish ourselves by being valuable and contributing members of the team wherever we are, and not be remembered as persons who were lazy, ignorant, and disloyal to the nation and society. Let us stand up and be counted. Let us not just talk and preach and pray. Let us simply have the courage to do our bit. Let us be the change that we want to see all around us. Let us consciously choose the harder right from the easier wrong. As Indians, it is our bounden duty to uphold our constitution at all times. You would have read about the constitution in your classes in the school. We normally tend to believe that the constitution gives us various rights. That is indeed true. But more importantly, it also bestows upon each one of us various duties and responsibilities. We all need to first understand and undertake those duties and responsibilities before we can claim any rights for ourselves. I therefore urge all the teachers, students, and parents to stress upon lessons that we can derive from the Constitution of India and to teach all the future generations the importance of upholding this Constitution, irrespective of what comes our way. In the end, I wish to thank you all for your patience. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to address the school faculty, all the esteemed guests, and our wonderful children. Thank you for honoring our legendary Captain Tucker, Ashok Chakra. My best wishes to the school and to all of you for tremendous success and good health always. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you, Major General Rajat Mathur. I'd like to just remind you on a lighter note that you opened many little windows in my heart when you talked about the hostel field and how you all dwelled there in the corner of the hostel field. That is the hostel field where many battles were won and many battles were lost. And many wonderful relationship stories were scripted. And other things that happened, little games were played. It is history, it's part of history. I wanted to just tell you, since you are here and we can communicate virtually at least, that I once went to do a quiz in IIT Kharagpur and we landed in a tiebreaker. You know, a quizmaster doesn't want, after he's worked out 2 semi-finals and a final, that too with IITians, very bright fellows. And it was a question asked to both the teams, IIT Kharagpur and IIT Powai, Mumbai. And they went on answering. Each team answered. No one was making a mistake. And finally, IIT Powai made a mistake and Kharagpur got the advantage. And someone from the team came, shook my hand and said, "So you're from Cuttack?" "Yes." "You're from Stewart School?" "So how is Mrs. Mathur?" It touched me very much. No, she has taught me and she is the reason why I'm in IIT. She motivated me. She inspired me, and that's why I'm here. So I just wanted to convey this to you, fond memory of your mother, how worthy she was, and what an institution she was in her subject. So thank you, Rajat ji, for that wonderful history plus sentiment that made us feel so very good.
Thank you so much. I will convey to her.
Thank you. Now, we are already grateful to so many people, and gratitude is blossoming within us. And the school choir wants to sing a hymn, Give Thanks with a Grateful Heart. That's right. Now we move on to something very, very interesting. A slideshow on the life and times of Captain Eric James Tucker. So that is the indomitable Captain Eric James Tucker of the 2nd Maratha Light Infantry. And a brief bio. Okay. Next slide, please. This is a briefer bio mentioning his admission. Sorry, this bio about him being a captain, IC, rank IC 5034 captain, and the award, single but mighty award, prestigious award, Ashok Chakra. Next slide, please. One of the earliest pictures of the handsome young captain. Earliest pictures. Very handsome young man, full of courage, and he would relinquish his life for the sake of the nation. We never knew that, but this is one of those very, very attractive pictures. Next slide, please. This is the Ashok Chakra medal and citation. A citation which mentions his prudence, his resilience, and steely valor. Hope all of you can see that clear. Move on to the next slide, please. This is the Official appointment document inducting Captain Eric Tucker is of the Short Service Commission into the Maratha Light Infantry on 13 July 1947. Most of it is self-explanatory. Here's a map showing the challenging task assigned to Captain Tucker. The path from Chakabana to Pek, 42 miles of danger in the Naga hills. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is the ambush. As Captain Tucker proceeded from Khazami to Kivku, the hostile Nagas laid ambush to his platoon in the thick undergrowth. There's a sketch of him. Yes, and the gruesome attack. Captain Tucker's resilience and eventually the enemy gunfire that shattered his chest and caused his death. A martyr, ladies and gentlemen, my friends, a martyr at just 29. Next slide, please. Now, a tribute to a hero. It says, thus the nation lost one of her greatest heroes, devoted patriots, and most glistening pearls. Captain Eric James led his men with an extremely high order of personal courage and determination amidst hostile concentration. He was a great inspiration for his fellow comrades, and his devotion to duty and leadership are exemplary and forever irreplaceable. Next slide, please. Here's a sports person receiving a prize. He took part in all activities, extracurricular activities, and here's an early picture of receiving a prize for his extracurricular skills. So that was a prize for a champion sportsperson. And now these are black and white pictures of honeyed moments, wedding pictures of Eric Tucker at Mumbai's Wesley Church. Unforgettable moments. We can still see in the picture confetti being thrown at him. Lovely, that feeling of the confetti settling on your shoulders, on your nose, but your heart is somewhere else. Next slide, please. Yes, this is the residence of the Tucker family in Khalasi Lane, Cuttack. I'm happy to tell you, I'm just a few yards away from it. Now, of course, the whole place has changed, but I live in this famous avenue, narrow avenue. And that is Eric's son, Yeshwant, with his grandmother, Mrs. Sybil Tucker, who was a formidable influence on the younger students of Stewart School. She was an iconic teacher, Mrs. Tucker. And here's some documents. School register that records the admission and tenure of Eric James Tucker in Stewart School. No one knew in the school the future of his future. Now we know. And what we know is history, blood, sweat, and tears. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is the edict at the National War Memorial, India Gate. The edict honoring Captain E.J. Tucker. You can see that very clearly. And that's a close-up. Yes, he was one of the most celebrated achievers of his regiment. To be a celebrated achiever of your regiment is a big thing in the army. So that was very neatly a collage of memories, very neatly put together. The PPT was excellent. The people who have contributed to this PPT have a lot of skill and know how to put their fonts, the color scheming, everything was brilliantly done. Congratulations to the whole team. Yes, friends, the late Captain Eric James Tucker. He had something to die for so that millions could have something to live for. Before we proceed, I would like to tell you about a guru in management. A guru in management, inside the brain of a great guru of management were two principles: mindset and then methodology. Two things that really make an organization succeed. And I'm happy to tell you, Stewartonian Peter Adams has been naturally gifted with these two principles of mindset and methodology. He's a boon to any organization with his uncanny wit, his unputdownable spirit, his indefatigable efforts and endeavors. He never sleeps until our task is finished. He's been a very close friend of mine, and I still remember he lived close to Stewart School. He just had to jump the wall and he was in Stewart. We played many games in his compound, and the wall became like Robert Frost's mending wall, smaller and smaller and broken in many places. But anyhow, we'll mend the wall with many memories. We have to thank Peter Adams, ex-Stewartonian, who has contributed immensely to this event and to this organization. And of course, you know Peter Adams, he's the first of first. Peter, the first Pope, and Adam, the first man God created. So he's the first of first. So thank you, Peter, for all that you've done on behalf of everyone. I thank you because you will have to give the vote of thanks. And then after that, who's going to stand up and thank you? So I thought, why not me? So we had that wonderful slideshow. I thank Peter. Now, the thing I'm looking forward to with a lot of enthusiasm, our guest of honor, Yashwant Christopher Tucker, son of late Captain Eric Tucker, will now speak to us. We're waiting for this. Yes, Yashwant.
Good evening, everybody. Major General Rajat Mathur, Colonel Arun Thakur, the management, Principal North, members of the staff, and students of Stewart School, Cuttack. I thank you for this honor to say a few words on my father, late Captain Eric James Tucker, who also is an alumni of your esteemed school. Well, I actually do not have any memory about my father because I was just 11 months old when my father was killed in action. But I have heard from my mother and a few colleagues of my dad who I've been meeting off and on. Most of them, late Lieutenant Colonel B.C. Puranik, who was more like an uncle to me. And they have, whatever they have told me, gems have already been, most of it is in the article, and Major General Rajat Mathur also stated, and also Principal North. But I would like to tell you something which basically stands out, because this was told to me by Lieutenant Colonel B.C. Puranik, who was his closest friend and uncle to me. You know, when they were asked to go to clear the line in Chakra and Peg, where my dad was ambushed and he lost his life. Well, it was actually the Nagas had previous information, like was mentioned earlier, and they were ready to ambush. But even the army, the command there, also had information regarding this ambush which the Nagas were planning. And my father had outwitted these insurgents and killed all of them, like has been mentioned that. And he had, he was like a thorn in their side. They just wanted to get rid of him. So when the time was for my dad to go and clear that line, he was being persuaded by the seniors that, you see, they have had this plan of ambush, and they plan to kill you. And but my dad wouldn't hear anything. He says, no, I have been given this task and I shall go on to complete it. And rest, of course, like Major General Mathur said, is there as history. Yeah. And here I would like to put just 2 points ahead for the students who are there. Basically, these 2 points, these 2 qualities rather, are ones which will hold you in good stead throughout your life. One is discipline and the other is commitment. And that was amply shown by my father in the process of carrying out his duties. Well, I would also take this opportunity to thank the 2nd Battalion, the Kalipashi of the Maratha Light Infantry, because they did a lot for me. They were very instrumental, and of course the Army High Command too. But they were always in the forefront of anything and everything that are required to be done. Because unfortunately, I lost my mother too at the tender age of 17, and I still wasn't an adult. So it was also one person I would like to mention. There's Colonel Kuldeep Singh, who was instrumental in getting a pension for me till the age of 21, so that I could finish my studies and go ahead in life. Well, it was a pleasure talking and listening to all the other speakers too. I thank the management, Principal North, and last and not the least, Colonel Jagannath, who's been so instrumental in contacting me and working out things so that this event was a success. And I'm proud proud that I have such a rich heritage of my dad, which I'm proud to be of. Yeah, I would like to close this with a few words from the Bible. 2 Timothy chapter 4 verse 7 says, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Thank you, Yashwant. Thank you so much. You really touched us. And I know you battled from day one, 11 months only, and the hero in your life gone, but a hero to the country. And then you lost your mother very early. It has been an uphill struggle for you, but you came through it because I think your father's spirit and his blessings and your mother's, inspiration from above kept you going, and you yourself, having all those genetic qualities, pushed yourself forward and worked for the Maharaja for more than 3 decades. And now the Maharaja is back in service with the Tatas. I think you started when the Tatas gave it to us. and now you're still there when the Tatas are getting it back. Who knows? They might call you and put you on the board because you've got such rich experience. So we might see a picture of you with the Maharaja. And Yashwant, we wish you all the luck and good health. Keep yourself strong as ever. And remember one thing, never forget, we all love you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah. It's now my pleasure to invite someone I know and we all know, Mrs. Padma Chauhan, to say a few words. She saw Mrs. Tucker and she was a neighbor. They've shared a lot of memories, and Mrs. Chauhan has always been a very, very lively person, a lot of friends, her communication skills are absolutely mind-blowing. Yes, Mr. Chauhan.
Good evening to all of you.
Yeah, good evening, good evening.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes, yes.
And you've taken me back years and years, but I was very lucky that we stayed with Mrs. Tucker in the same compound and shared everything of the world through her. She used to go to Bombay every holiday from the school, and her son, Eric Tucker, was so concerned about her, so careful about her. And so there was an admiration in our minds for somebody, a young man from the military, and also so good looking because we saw pictures of him. And to think that today at 87, I'm saying thank you to Eric Tucker. Is there any questions you want to ask? I will answer.
I just have one flattering remark. At 87, you could still consider yourself beautiful. You could still consider yourself beautiful because you said you lived in the company of beautiful people and you admired Eric Tucker, and all of them had personalities around. It was wonderful, truly. And you still have that charisma, Mrs. Chauhan. And we are very happy that you are virtually connected with us. It's a great moment. It's a great moment.
I can't thank you enough. And all you
you really touched us.
all
It's now time to call upon Colonel PTR Jagannath.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening. How are you doing?
All good, sir. All blessings, sir.
Okay, fine, fine.
So I'll just take 1 minute in talking about this elite battalion where we had Captain Eric Tucker serving, sir. The Maratha valor is often associated with Shivaji, the illustrious king, whose saga remains a very important motivational symbol for this regiment. It is for this reason that the war cry of the regiment is a clarion call to the soldiers in the name of the great warrior. This unit participated in the World War I and the World War II. In World War II, they were in North Africa where they captured the Keren, that is a portion in the present-day Eritrea. And in this operation, 4 officers, 10 junior commissioned officers, and 245 other ranks lost their lives. The unit has earned 21 pre-independence battle honors and 1 post-independent battle honor in its rich histories spanning over 2 centuries. I would like to remind that this battalion was raised on 4th of August 1768 as the 2nd Battalion, the Bombay Sepoys. Post-independence, the unit served in all operational areas and proved its valor. The battalion undertook active participation in military evacuation organized in Punjab. During Nagaland insurgency in 1956-57, the valor of Captain Eric James Tucker, rightly brought out by North Sir and General Rajat Mathur Sir, earned its first Ashok Chakra to this unit. The battalion has also served in United Nations Emergency Force in Gaza Strip in 1961 and 62. The battalion participated in almost all the operations, and to its name, it has got one Ashok Chakra, that is Captain Eric James Tucker, one Kirti Chakra, one Veer Chakra, 7 Shaurya Chakras, and 15 Sena medals. This is the gallant history of this battalion. We have a very special guest from the Maratha Light Infantry, whom I would like to request that let us continue this association with the unit, with the battalion, and more such brave soldiers be produced from our school with the association of the battalion. So there's a very special guest. I would like him to open up his mic and just say a few words so that it can help us. My only request is that once the unit gives us the support, we will of course send more officers to the Indian Army, like the way I got motivated by seeing Rajat sir, Ruben Peters sir, Jayant Kar sir, and that is how I got into NDA. And so I feel that if we continue this association, we will have a lot of contribution from the school, which has produced Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and a great hero like Captain Eric James Tucker. I request the special guest to just give us a few words.
Yes.
So just a minute, he's not able to unmute the mic, sir.
Okay.
Just a minute, sir. I'm just taking him online, sir.
Yeah, no hurry.
Sir.
Take it easy.
Just want to remind the August gathering, sir, that my uncle often refers that my father used to tell that Captain Eric, he used to call him Eric. There were 2 years, the gap between them was 2 years in the school. And he used to use the word ferocious on the track. That was the word he used to use, because my father's biggest competitor was Captain Eric during his school days. From Maratha Light Infantry. Okay. Can I request you to take on?
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah.
Jai Hind and good evening to all. I am Colonel Thakur, commanding officer of the unit, which has been spoken about by Colonel Jagannath, and definitely Captain Eric J. Tucker, the Ashok Chakra is from my unit. I am honored to be in this unit. So he happened to join in 50s, and I joined in 2000 something, and getting commissioned to the same unit and being lucky enough to command the same battalion. Definitely, it's an honor with all the history, the glorious past, and the rich present that we have. Definitely, it's a great start for the school to commemorate the great feats on the anniversary of Captain Tucker. We definitely would love to continue this association and take this kind of commemorative events every year. And definitely would like to visit the school, talk to the students, and which would bring proud to the school, to the alumni, and definitely to the organization and serving the nation. So a lot has been spoken about the unit and Captain Tucker's great feat, but that always will remain less. So I thank the school, Jalmathur, Colonel Jagannath, and all those who have made this event possible. And today we are here commemorating the great feat of one of the veterans and the Ashok Chakras of Indian Army. So I thank you all for the pains you have taken and a lovely presentation, PowerPoint presentation, which was shown. Definitely, I also saw a few of the photographs for the first time. For my unit, Kali Panchvi, it's a great honor. And for me, it's a great honor to be in the unit where brave like Captain Tucker lived and attained martyrdom for the country. Thank you. Jai.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, what a unique thing it is to become a soldier, to join the army, to overcome fear, to lay down your life, be prepared to lay down your life for your country. We are proud of our army, since army men are here. Our school, Stewart School, is proud of the army, because when our neighbors become unfriendly, the army is there. When there are floods, the army is there. When there's a landslide, the army is there. When there are other natural disasters, the army is there. When people need food packets, the army is there. Whenever there is trouble, the army is always there. They're always there, the custodians of our country's unity, security, and invincible attitude. I think when I see Rajat, Jagannath, I feel inspired. Because see, today people are after a NEET exam. I'm telling you, there are people, students coming out of different schools, they all want to give the NEET exam, the JEE exam. What are we doing if we are dynamic teachers, if we are good motivators? Let us do something special to inspire people to join the army. After all, Robert Frost, the poet, his father didn't want him to be a poet, but he stayed with his grandfather on his farm and he became a poet and he lived as a poet. He was the first poet to be invited to read a poem at a US president's inauguration. It was Robert Frost. And I'd like to quote for our army friends, the last stanza of The Road Not Taken. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere, ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood. And I took the one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference. And it has made the difference to our meeting also. The presence of our army, that the school has honed some of the noblest souls, that is very fulfilling. It's a great reward. I was told by the principal that a student of Stewart School, Samia Saeed, would love to speak. Is that on?
Late Captain Eric James Tucker, one of the eminent, fearless, and most courageous brave hearts of the country, relinquished his life for the sake of his motherland, and whose name has been etched indelibly on the pages of history. He was born on 21st October 1927 and completed his schooling from Stewart School, Cuttack, one of the most prestigious and luminary institutions of the state. Captain Tucker was one of the most prudent, steadfast, resilient, valiant, and most determined soldiers of the country, who always took up ventures thoughtfully and deftly. His actions spoke for themselves, and he shone in his august personality. Even today, the name resonates with pride, honor, and righteousness. He was posthumously conferred with India's highest peacetime gallantry accolade, the Ashok Chakra, for his gallantry and supreme sacrifice. In 1956, at the time when Naga insurgency, India's first and oldest rebellion since independence, was at its apogee, Tucker was in the command of the B Company of the 2nd Battalion of Maratha Light Infantry, operating in the Naga Hills, and had been entrusted with the daunting task of unsealing the lines of communication from Chakabama to Pek, situated at an extensive distance of 42 miles, and further to Maluri, positioned at a distance of 20 miles. After a great deal of difficulty, he finally accomplished his objective when he reached Maluri after vying with courage with a large number of hostile insurgents, who were armed with automatics and rifles, besides commanding expertise in guerrilla warfare. On 1st April 1957, while operating in the Naga Hills, Captain Eric James Tucker was in receipt of information about rebel concentration at Chipokatami. In a jiffy, he rushed to the location, scrambling his way through dark forests, led an ambush upon them, and seized 4 rebels along with weapons. On 18th July 1957, he exercised a large maneuver, inflicted intense casualties, and captured a number of prisoners. Nothing could allay his mettle to cope up with the tensest circumstances and overcome the most formidable enemies. Similarly, again, on 2nd August 1957, while proceeding from Khuzami to Kiviku with a platoon, he was ambushed in the thick undergrowth of the jungle near milestone 70 by militants who had covertly gleaned information about his movement. Captain Eric James Tucker got brutally hit by the militants on the face and legs, but he stood his ground, fought, and engaged the militants till the last round, fighting till the last gasp. He eventually stormed at the militants just before being hit by an automatic burst of gunfire that hit him straight on the chest, thereby leading to his spot death. He was martyred in the prime of his life, aged 29. Thus, the nation lost one of her greatest heroes, devoted patriots, and most glistening pearls. Captain Eric James led his men with an extremely high order of personal courage and determination amidst hostile concentration. He was a great inspiration for his fellow comrades, and his devotion to duty and leadership are exemplary and forever irreplaceable. I believe Captain Eric James Tucker left behind the important lesson of responsibility towards duty, determination, and a high sense of devotion to the young people of this generation. These are the rare qualities we do not see much of in the present times. May the life and sacrifice of Captain Eric James Tucker be a source of inspiration for the youth to give their lives for the glory of our nation. Jai Hind.
Oh, Shamia, that was impeccably read, impeccable expression. May God bless you abundantly and give you a lot of happiness and success. From all of us, we wish you well. It's time now to call upon the school choir, who will sing, "O God, our help in ages past." Wonderful hymn.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Oh,
My dear friends, some of the best quotes, some of the best lines, some of the best poems ever written are by the anonymous writers. As a student of literature, I've always wanted to make a collection of anonymous quotes, anonymous poems. They're some of the most beautiful, most expressive masterpieces. And one of them that I remember, I'd like to share with all of y'all because the occasion is appropriate for it. He says, "Our flag does not fly because the wind moves it. Our flag does not fly because the wind moves it. It flies with the last breath of each soldier who died protecting it." Now, that is part of bravery, selflessness, heroism, gallantry. And continuing the story of gallantry, we now have Lieutenant Colonel Sailesh Sharma, who will say a few words. Lieutenant Colonel Sailesh Sharma, please.
Jain sir, respected Yashwant sir, Mrs. Padma Chauhan, Major General Rajat Mathur, Chairman, Principal, all esteemed guests and all participants of this commemoration ceremony, to remember and pay homage to Captain Eric James. It's a privilege that I've been associated with the Stewart School, with one of medical company. And moreover, as what General Rajat sir had said, I have served in the same area, and that too along with the officers of Kali Panchvi, who later commanded, heard a lot during the tenure during 2001 to 4 in the same area. Of course, as General Rajat sir has brought out, the difficulties had reduced to a great extent. Even then, assuming what could have been the time when Captain James sir had ventured into the area, opened such a long line of communication of approx 70 to 100 kilometers in a stretch, which nowadays is being opened by a battalion plus or a brigade, which he had opened up with a single company with difficulties at that time. Having served into that area and hear a lot from the officers who later commanded the Kali Panchvi battalion in the same place, it's an honor to be part of this esteemed meeting. Moreover, association with the Stewart School, who have produced such a leader who shall ever remain a role model for all of us. Captain James sir had proved that we live by chance, love by choice, and we do not die, but we share our life in line of duty. A salute to sir and very high regard. All the best wishes to the new generation of the schools who have been proving, as I see my honor board of my company, maximum percentages from the Stewart School, and I believe the school shall ever produce the new generation to build this nation. Thank you, sir. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Sharma. Thank you very much. They're very, very inspiring words. Now, I must thank all of you, all batches who have come, former Stewartonians, guests we have invited, people from the army, the people from the Tucker family. I must not exceed my brief because the next will be a vote of thanks after a hymn is sung. We'll have the vote of thanks by Peter. And remember, after the vote of thanks, the national anthem will automatically follow. So people don't expect that after that, the show continues. No, it doesn't continue. And I just wanted to remind Peter that the famous management guru I quoted in your case, who talked about mindset and methodology, was also called Peter. He's an Austrian management guru called Peter Drucker. And I took it from a book, very costly book on Drucker, Inside the Brain of Drucker. So now I'm really honored. One of my closest friends and Stewartonian is giving you the vote of thanks. And after that, ladies and gentlemen, Stewartonian friends, We'll follow with the National Anthem. It's been a unique experience for me doing this program virtually, and it'll be remembered forever. Thank you to Fali and all for giving me this great opportunity. It was a privilege.
Thank you, sir.
It has been a great honor to have been asked to offer this vote of thanks on this great occasion. In fact, we should be thankful to Captain Eric Tucker, who rose the ranks and sacrificed his life, for which we are all here today to pay him homage. So I thank each and every one present here for honoring him. And this is an opportunity where we all, with a truthful background also, can meet on this virtual platform. I first of all like to thank who we are proud of, that is our chief guest, Mr. Rajat Mathur, Major General of the Indian Army. He rose these ranks, but he is humble enough to acknowledge that it is the foundation of Stewart School that led him to these heights. We are frequently in touch as a family with his mother, and we are happy that she is there with him. And I'm sure she's attending this program also. So my namaskar to her. I also especially like to thank our guest of honor, Mr. Yashwant Christopher Tucker, who is the son of Captain Eric James Tucker. I thank him profusely for having consented to be the apt guest of honor, because we are happy to know that the genes of late Captain Eric Tucker run through Mr. Yashwant Christopher Tucker. And for the pride that he has for his father, even though he had not seen him, but I'm sure that pride is regenerated today after hearing the honor given to him, that is his father, Captain Eric James Tucker. We are, in fact, proud of you, sir, Yashwant Christopher Tucker, and we look for your continuation of contact with the old school of your father. Thank you very much. Now I take this opportunity and privilege to thank in our midst our Honorable Chairman, Bishop Right Reverend Surendra Kumar Nanda. At the same time, I extend my heartfelt thanks to the office bearers and the leaders of the Diocese of Cuttack, and I, both past and present, who have very nicely graced this occasion with their dignified presence, adding to the success of this program. I would also like to thank Lieutenant Colonel Shailesh Sharma, Officer Commanding 1st Reserve Medical Company NCC Cuttack, for having graced this occasion, spoken so much and so aptly in the context of Captain Eric James Tucker. He took up this task because at the last moment, Colonel Rajanesh Kapoor, he could not make it. So I am happy that you accepted this last moment invitation. Lieutenant Colonel Shailesh Sharma, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
My heart jumps out into my mouth when I remember Mrs. Gillian Hart. And I would like to thank her. I hope she's present in this August gathering. She's the principal of Welland Goldsmith School, Kolkata. And Mrs. Hart, we all cannot forget who were under her tenure, as she was the headmistress and very apt headmistress of our Stewart School, from whom we learned a lot and we owe a lot to what we are today. So, Gillian, our best wishes to you. Thank you very much for being present. We wish you good health and a long life. Colonel PTR Jagannath from Hyderabad, you have actually steered this program so successfully, and I'm so grateful, thankful to you on behalf of all who have taken part in this wonderful gathering, virtual gathering, I should say.
Thank you, sir.
Mrs. Padma Chauhan, I feel odd to call her so, because I call her auntie, and she also looks upon me as her nephew. And she, actually, we know, as a family, she was our family friend. He was fond of gardening, and so also my father-in-law. And she was a very close friend of the Tucker family. It's well known to all of us. Mr. Suchit Das, I thank him also for his august presence. He was the former DG of Orissa and an ex-Totonian too. I thank him for being present here, because each one who is present here today has contributed to the success of this program. I'm sure each one of you will agree to this. I also like to thank all the Stewartonians, old and young, present today. Old but young at heart, because that was the institution, the injection given to us when from school days. The age is just a number where we are concerned. All former teachers of Stewart School, and those who are present also, who are on the present roll of the school, I thank them also for having been present to make this function, to add on to the success of this function. The teaching staff, the office staff, the senior students, the present students of Stewart School, also, to be wrong on my part if I don't thank them, because they are now going through the spirit we had gone through. And we wish all of them a very bright future, and I thank you for your presence. I would lengthen this program if I had to talk about Mr. Frederick Wright, because he is the wizard of quizzing, the quiz master recognized nationally, I should say, next to Eric O'Brien. And his spontaneous willingness to anchor this program so wonderfully that he added pep and he added on through his words of literature, made this program as rich as it is. I thank him from the bottom of my heart, my school friend, childhood friend, and I always, he's very close to my heart. So thank you, Freddie.
Thank you.
For this.
Thank you.
And I really like to, last but not the least, thank others also who were responsible for this program being successful. And an ex-Totonian like Reverend Samuel Sambalingam. He is one who has added on through music and his ardent prayer. And we know he is a reverend today because that was the dream of his mother, who was our scripture teacher. I thank him for making this function, adding on to this function to make it a grand success. Mr. Sovan Panda also has been a part of this advisory committee, along with Mrs. D. Martina, some of the teachers of the school. So they have played a vital role in this commemoration ceremony, making it a grand success. Whose name I have left out? Last but not the least, I am to thank the principal, Wali North, to have been the pivot, the center to coordinate and see that this great virtual function turned out to be a great success. And it seems as if we are meeting each other on a live platform, no virtually. So I thank each and everyone who have joined, and my due apologies to anyone else who I have left out, because it is not intentional. It is human to err, it is divine to forgive. With this note, I thank you once again, and we look forward to such occasions on and on to bring us Stewart School, our ceremony, all together to feel one in the Spirit, one in the Lord. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peter. Thank you very much. And I'd like to offer thanks to the principal of Stewart School and his very ebullient team who put everything together and made this such a smooth virtual memorial ceremony. So as gratitude, I'd like to offer Mr. North one of my favorite quotations from William Faulkner. He's one of my favorite writers also, who said, "You cannot swim for new horizons until you have courage to lose sight of the shore." Thank you very much. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Stotonians, we'll have the national anthem.
Thank you, sir.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे